I was alone in the car with my son, who was 2 at the time. We were driving home from my parents' house where we had spent the previous night. It was about 10:30 in the morning, and we had just stopped for coffee. We pulled into the parking lot of our apartment complex, and I turned off the engine. As I turned to my son in his car seat, I noticed that he wasn't wearing the Spider-Man pajamas that he had been wearing the day before. I distinctly remembered putting him in those pajamas the night before, and I was sure that he hadn't Chan. Get in the back seat of the car overnight, confused. I tried to think of what other pajamas he could be wearing, but nothing was coming to mind. At this point, my son started making distressed noises and was crying because he wanted me to pick him up. I quickly got out of the car to go round to his side and open the door. But as I did, I saw something that made me freeze in my tracks. My son was indeed no longer wearing his Spider-Man pajamas, but he wasn't wearing any pajamas at all. Instead, he was completely naked. As I stood there in shock, my son continued to cry out for me to pick him up, and I quickly scooped him into my arms and closed the car door behind me. I immediately called my husband and told him what had happened. He thought it was very funny and kept asking me if I was sure that I hadn't dreamed it. When I told him that I was serious, he said that he would talk to me later and hung up the phone. As I walked to the apartment, still holding my naked son in my arms, I couldn't help but feel a growing sense of dread. What could have happened to him? And how could the pajamas have disappeared? As I quickly scanned my surroundings, I noticed that there was a man standing at the end of the hallway staring at me. I knew that man. He lived in the apartment across from us, and I had seen him several times in the weeks that we had been living there. He always seemed nice enough, and I had never had any problems with him before. But now, as I looked at him, I felt a chill run down my spine. There was something about the way that he was looking at me and my son that made me feel deeply uncomfortable. I tried to shake off the feeling and focused on getting my son inside and changing him into some new clothes. But the encounter with the man in the hallway had left me shaken. I couldn't help but wonder if he had seen me carrying my son and what he might have thought. In the days that followed, I couldn't get the incident out of my mind. I started to feel anxious and paranoid, convinced that someone was trying to take my son away from me. I began to question everything I did as a mother, wondering if I had made a mistake somewhere that had put my son in danger. The fear and uncertainty became overwhelming, and I found myself constantly on edge, always expecting the worst. It was at that moment that I realized that I needed to do something to take care of myself and my son. I reached out to my friends and family for support, and they rallied round me, offering their love and understanding. With their help, I was able to start feeling like myself again and to trust in my instincts as a mother. As time went on, the anxiety and paranoia lifted, and I was able to move forward. I learned that it was okay to ask for help when I needed it, and that I didn't have to go through this alone. The experience had been terrifying, but it had also been a turning point in my life, making me a stronger and more resilient person. Now, whenever I feel overwhelmed or anxious, I remind myself of the strength I found within myself and the support of my loved ones. I know that no matter what challenges I face, I can get through them with the help of those around me. And that's the end of this scary story. If you want to hear another scary story, then check out this playlist.